went to the quarry. It took me about 2 hours to select rocks, boulders that were on the peripheral of the quarry. So what is quarried, it's usually, the stratification is rather angular, squarish. Now I did not want that, because had I started with a square block, I would have made a round anyway. Mm-hmm. And so I started with the rather roundish boulders that were being discarded, pushed away from the quarry. Those boulders don't even belong to the quarry. I'm sure they were rolled by the glaciers. Where from, I don't know. But they must have traveled away before they got there. Now, most materials want to be carved a certain way. They wear out a certain way. The suggestions about the existing rock. It would not be natural not to respond to the rock, because it is beautiful in its natural state. And it's not just to make a sculpture, it's not a matter of showing off what the carver can do to it, or what can make it do make it take some arbitrary shape. I do not take that approach. If I see something that is beautifully shaped, I will utilize. And if I carve into it, no matter how many tons of stone I remove, it will still look as if it always want to be that shape. Or as no one wounded it. It's still healthy. It should look to me as if when I'm through with it, what's missing, the rock never wanted in the first place. I think had I done this when I was much younger, I would have wanted to show what I can do with tools. I would have shown off. I would have done very intricate carving. But at this stage of my life, I'm contented to use what's already there and add to it what it seems to agree with. Because I initiate it. I project, let's say, a concept. But as it feeds back, the stone itself can reject it. You see, how should I say, it looks almost like an ecosystem. I project an idea into it, and it will throw it back at me as a yes or no, maybe, not so hot, very good. You see. So that it isn't that the stone tells me what to do, but it will have to accept what I will. Otherwise, if it somehow resists that, it seems less, I'm animating the stone. Of course, it's myself echoing back to me, but somehow my feeling project into the rock, come back to me with the rockiness that it didn't have first. And it's just like someone playing at a piano. You listen to the sound, and if you respond right, you write it down, you jot it down, and you compose the way. But somehow you have to hear it. So my idea is, I cannot look away from the rock and think independently, because it doesn't work. Everything I do openly with it, and it is thrown back at me with variations, and usually much more improved, because it will have another dimension. It isn't just a vague idea. An artist of any kind can start with an idea and look for a material or a medium to express it. Or you may start with material and formulate a concept from the material. Often our communities are reluctant to do it that way, because you are at the mercy of the artist. You'll have to trust someone very much to say, go to it, improvise. But if you get a group that can agree to that, the chances are you get better work that way. Because if not there, in the privacy of my own studio, just in a little room, I'll have to improvise sometimes anyway. There's no other way of creating except improvise till you find something that falls in harmony with all the elements that you plan to use. Because we had no model to go by, it is extremely difficult to use help. How can I tell them what to do if I'm trying to find out myself what I should do from minute to minute or from second to second? I have to feel my way. And I couldn't even tell myself what to do. I had to do and get in rhythm with what I was doing to see which way I really wanted to go. If I were to think it out and then tell somebody else to do it for me, it already would have been second-handed. Because even if I tell myself, when I actually do, it would not be exactly the same way, because the act of carving modifies the concept. As a matter of fact, I should say this way, the act of carving modifies an idea. That is, at this point, an idea, when it interacts with the act of carving, that makes it a concept. It becomes a concept. You can only have a vague idea, but this idea isn't grounded enough. It doesn't have the consent of the material or the tools. But when you apply it, it revises itself. I don't mean that you change your mind, but it grows. It acquires other dimensions. So you aim approximately, but when you're there, you take much more definite direction. I may as well be carving with my bare hands, because my experience has been that with hand tools, a lot of hand tools before I changed into pneumatics. Once you make contact, and when I say direct contact, because I do not like to wear gloves even on granite, once you think close to it, when my thoughts is right at the tip of the chisel. My hand moves, I see it, feel it hitting the head of the chisel, but my soul is right at the tip of the chisel. I might as well be there with my own fingertips carving it out. So it doesn't matter what I do it with, because I feel with the process with the impact on just the clash between the steel and granite, the way it carves in, that's what I feel. So that I don't feel any more distant from it, regardless which tool I use. You have reached a point where you're finishing very delicately, and you pat it, and you pat it, and finally just get able to pull away with it. You leave it, it's content. But there's a point when you're, it's almost sadistic too, because you cut into it. You're doing some harm, and you're trying to resist sentiment. You cannot, as I said before, I love this rock. I would not work it if I didn't. But at a certain point, I know that I have to do it harm. I'll have to cut into it. I know that it feels, but the fact that it feels is reassuring, because I know that at the end I will heal it. I'll go back to it. It promises well when I feel hurt with it when I'm carving, because that means I'm really feeling with it. Then when I made this contact, and this rock has been somewhat wounded by me, then the finishing it is a process of making it well, and it responds. Then is a real contact, a real rapport, because as I work it, it feels better. It's restored to health.